Broadcasting from Detroit's Cass Corridor, it's The Metro on WDET. I'm Tia Graham. And today on The Metro, it's time for some comedy. WDET's fourth and final What's So Funny About Detroit Comedy Showcase of the summer is Thursday at the Old Miami. That's on Cass Avenue, just a few blocks away from our station. Among the performers will be Detroit's very own Barb. Many of our listeners may be familiar with Barb. She's become very well known for her Only in Detroit social media reels, where she highlights unique scenes from around the Detroit streets.
What up, though? And Only in Detroit presents three-wheel motion. No tire, no problem. That's how we get down, and that's why we're the Motor City. What up, though? And Only in Detroit. And I do mean only in Detroit. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's not. It's Roach Man. What up, though? And Only in Detroit presents another exciting episode of Eastside Power Ranger. As you can see, today we have a villain. We have a villain and he is ready, but he's no match for Eastside Power Ranger or that Suburban.
I'm cracking up at my own self, obviously.
I'm tearing up. I'm trying to, let's pull it back. After years of making a name for herself in the Motor City comedy scene, she has recently been working in Los Angeles. But she's back in town, of course, this week for WDET's Comedy Showcase. And she joins me now on the Metro, as you heard her by her laughs. Barb, welcome to the Metro.
Thank you for having me, Tia. That was super funny. Thank you guys for the collage. That made me feel really good. And I'm surprised how hard I laughed at myself.
Sometimes you listen back and you're just like, you know what? I do remember how funny that was.
Yeah, I do. Because, I do so many Only in Detroit, so many voiceovers that it's like sometimes I forget about my favorites. And listening without watching actually was just as funny as when I see the video. So that's great.
That was one of our favorite things. Like, you don't even have to see it and see her. You can just hear her and just feel how funny whatever she's talking about is in that moment. But Barb, jumping in with a hard, serious question, okay?
Okay.
If you were a sandwich, what kind of sandwich would you be?
Oh my God, I would be, and this is... It's not a paid endorsement. I would be that vegan corned beef sandwich at Mudgee's.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, because I'm plant-based. So it is like my favorite. Second runner-up, falafel wrap at Bucharest. Yeah, even though I don't know if a wrap is a sandwich. Well, I guess is it a sandwich?
I consider it a sandwich.
Okay, well, I give you two. Okay. I like options.
Okay, and are those two of the things that you come into town and get?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to stop by Mudgee's as soon as I leave here.
Get it ready, everybody.
Get it ready,
Mudgee's.
Cue it up.
She's on her way. No,
sure.
Barb, you became a pretty major staple in the Detroit comedy scene. More recently, though, you've been in L.A. That was one of the last conversations we had. You were leaving. How has LA been treating you?
LA has been great. Career-wise, it's been very good. I've been able to do or get some opportunities that I think were really indicative of just being in the Los Angeles scene. Like I did the Nate Jackson Super Funny Comedy Jam. Yes. I've done some acting roles. I did like Brandon T. Jackson's Making a Brand, which was fun. I did an episode of Judge Maybelline. I mean, I've really been working. And of course, most recently, I was on this season of Comic View Rooftop Series, episode number 8, in case you want to watch. And just found out that Comic View is BET's #1 rated TV show. So they renewed it for a second season, which means that we did pretty good. And I know a lot of us grew up watching Comic View, watching shows like that. So to be a part of two franchises that I feel like is bringing back that nostalgic stand-up comedy it's been a dream come true for sure.
Yes. Once again, when I saw you performing on Comic View, I just thought, in my mind, I'm like, she made it. Because it's Comic View. Growing up watching Comic View, especially sneaking watching it when I shouldn't have been watching it at night. But it's one of those things, like we all kind of have a memory of watching Comic View growing up. So to see you there was just like, oh my gosh, she's doing something that is just so amazing right now. But you've been touring as well. You've been doing a circuit. You've been across the country. Recently, you were with Michael Blackson. Talk about touring and traveling as a comedian for you right now.
I mean, I think that touring and traveling has been so pivotal as far as getting my brand out. There's so many people that have never seen my comedy or I'm new to them. So I love seeing that fresh take. Also seeing if it resonates in other markets. Like I just recently did Davenport, Iowa. Who knew?
Who knew? Wow.
Who knew? I just did Tacoma. I just went out and they brought. So I host this show called Crack 'em Up at the Comedy Store, the world famous Comedy Store.
Yes.
I'm the first female host in over 20 years there. So I'm following the footsteps of Ron Taylor, who just won Funny AF, CP,
Yes.
Esau McGraw, Tony Baker. I mean, the list goes on and on. So to be there, and Nate Jackson actually brought the Crack 'em Up show to Tacoma, Washington. So just watching that evolution. And of course, a lot of times when you're in the thick of things, you don't realize the progress you're making until you sit back and reflect. You're so busy running the rat race. You're like, I haven't done anything. Then you're like, hold on. I got a few little credits here. So just having those experiences, being able to tour, being able to go across the country, be funny, represent my great, beautiful city, Detroit.
Exactly.
What up, dog? You know, you gotta get it. It's been amazing, Tia, for sure.
And talk a little bit, if you can, what is it like for you being a host and being in that position? How are you curating your shows? How are you getting the crowd involved?
Well, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I am an expert at crowd involvement. What it is I really like to make it fun. You know, some comedians, they'll get involved with the audience and maybe not be so nice. But for me, I want to get you engaged in the most pleasurable way possible. I feel like comedy is a relief for us all. No matter where you're going through, what your background is, where you came from, socioeconomic status, race, ethnicity, whatever, we all are bonded by that laughter. So I want to make everybody feel good. So, you know, I may do a live game show, The Price is Wrong. I may talk to the audience. I'll try to feed off the audience and make sure that my comedy is kind of indicative of what I see in the audience and just make it very fun, very funny, very light. Love some good improv.
Yes.
I love a good couple in the audience, things like that. So I just try and make it as fun as possible. And hosting really tightens that comedic muscle because every week you can do something different. You're the glue holding the show together. You can help other people's performances be better. And let's be honest, at the Comedy Store, you get all the celebrities.
Yes.
So we've had some big names just pop up to do guest sets that, they're selling out stadiums and arenas and they pop up just to come do some guest sets.
You name a
with
few,
us.
just a few.
Okay, we've had Deion Cole.
Oh my gosh.
We've actually had Michael Blackson. We've had Eric Andre
Oh my
pop
gosh.
up. We've had, let me think. Like, nah. I mean, we had Spanky Hayes from Wild 'N Out. We've had Courtney B from Wild 'N Out. We've had quite a few people just like pop up, and I look in the back and I'm like, that's how I met Nate Jackson.
Really?
He was just sitting in the corner, like there to do just a set randomly, and I'm hosting, and he's like, yo, T, you're really, really funny, and I want you to showcase for this opportunity to be a part of my taping. So just being there, that's what I mean, like the LA thing, like you never know. Like you'll be sitting there and not in my room, not yet, but we've had like Dave Chappelle come in the next room or Martin Lawrence come in and be right next door. And I'm like, whoa, Damon Williams Jr., Shantae Wayans. I mean, the list is pretty expansive.
It's pretty expansive. So, when you do go out to the West Coast, of course, I'm curious about you getting your name out there. Has it been, or did it feel like you were starting over from scratch?
Absolutely. It's absolutely starting over from scratch because what happens is you've established yourself in your hometown. I've co-hosted on the news. I come through here. I can, I'm known by most of the outlets here. But in LA, it's like, who, what, where, what? But we let the funny lead. We let that good personality lead. I get that a lot. A lot of people are like, oh, you're so refreshing. I'm like, maybe because I'm nice. But it has been. But I say this all the time. Sometimes you take 3 steps backwards to take 10 steps forward. So anytime you want to grow, you have to be uncomfortable. I feel like I was comfortable here in Detroit. I knew Detroit. I can walk around and walk in here or go in there and people know me. So to start over just really was like, let me see if I got it like that. If I really want it that bad. Am I willing to be uncomfortable for the sake of my career? So it's just been an eye-opening experience. And it's expensive. It's hey, if y'all want to come out to this show tomorrow, I need y'all to come because it's expensive and I'm going to need to get paid.
I was going to say, we all know about hear about the prices in LA. And, as you're telling us, it's real. It's real.
When you get here and you see $4 a gallon and you say, praise them.
Oh
that lets you know it
gosh.
costs too much in LA. I say $4 a gallon, sign me up.
You said, can I take some with me?
I said, praise them. Everybody else like the gas $4. I'm like, $4? I'll take it. Give me 3 gallons. Give me 12 on 4.
I know we're complaining about this, but yeah, it could definitely be worse for us here. For comedians around the city of Detroit, it's super difficult to be doing comedy without having a side hustle. And you're talking about how expensive LA is. Are you able to do it in LA full time as a comedian?
I mean, I think that everybody should diversify their portfolio.
Yes,
Since
yes.
we're on NPR WDET, we know the listeners know that. I think it's important to have a fallback that allows you to still be an artist without, and then there's nothing wrong with being a starving or a struggling artist. So I champion those people too. But I feel like that puts you in a different position.
Yeah.
Sometimes that makes you a little more desperate for certain opportunities. And sometimes you'll end up saying yes to things you should say no to because your back is against the wall. So me, personally, so glad you asked. I do quite a few things. From speaking, I've done TED Talk. So that's what gave me some speaking opportunities. I was a social worker for 14 years. Shout out to the state of Michigan, MDHHS. So I was able to do some home help stuff on the side, loving in our purpose. Yes. Me and my partner, we do that. My main thing is comedy. Mm-hmm. But listen, I pass it, baby. If you need to go out and DoorDash, go deliver you some nachos.
Okay.
If that's what you need to do, start your podcast, sell you some merchandise after the show. That's why it's so important. When I see the fans, and let's say they spend $10 or $20 with me, or I'm on social media and I get some support, it means a lot because that's what allows me to keep climbing. Yeah. Being an artist is expensive.
Yeah.
Baby Tia, you got to show up with your hair, your nails. You got to wash your eyeball. You know what I mean? Let me come in there with a crusty eyeball. Ugh, look at her. Baby, I needed some soap to wash my eyeball. So I was hoping that somebody bought this little book.
You bring up such an important, point or part of being a creative in general, and especially trying to be a creative who makes money. Talk about building yourself as a brand or a business, and what does that look like, especially as we continue to see just the advancement of technologies and everything that we're seeing right now. How have you continued to evolve yourself as a brand, as a businesswoman?
I think that establishing yourself as a brand is very important. And I think that that's something that most artists are so thinking about, the value of the craft or the project or the art itself. They don't understand that in order for that art to be long lasting, you have to somewhat brand it. Whether it's a Only in Detroit t-shirt like I wear all the time, or whether it's maybe having a tagline, the one up dawn, or just having something that you're known for will help you, especially in today's world where we're going to be clashing with some AI. So how do you really amplify your human experience? How do you amplify that connectivity to the audience where you can't just be replaced by AI? We love your voice. Your voice is going to carry us through. Your personality, the character, us listening to this show and saying, we want to hear Tia's experience or her opinion on that. So sometimes I think artists are afraid to put that part out, but that's a part of it. And also, this is a business. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's a business. Unless you just want to be that artist that's not able to maintain yourself. Now, everybody's not going to be a millionaire, right? that's to me not the goal. If I was a social worker and I was making $50,000 a year doing that, and I could make that doing this, I'm happy with that because I'm still living a great life. But you also have to realize that you do have to wash your butt, and you need soap to wash your butt. So in order to properly wash your butt, you're gonna have to try and monetize it somewhat. Now the level, that's up to you.
Yeah.
And you need to brand yourself for sure.
Yeah. It's the Metro on WDET, Detroit Public Radio. My guest is Barb, a well-known Detroit comedian who is now cutting her teeth in Los Angeles. She'll be at WDET's What's So Funny About Detroit Comedy Showcase, the last one of the year. It is this Thursday. Doors open at 6. The show starts at 7. Now, being a comedian today, what opportunities are there for a comedian in LA that you didn't see here in the city?
Like I said, it's a lot of television opportunities. I feel like, you're able to meet different people, different creatives. Don't get me wrong, I feel like Detroit is full of creatives. We do have a nice creative tone in the city. But it depends on the level. Once again, sometimes you're there, and let me tell you something about LA. Not even trying to be funny. First off, I don't ever want to hear anybody call Detroit dirty because LA, baby, the sidewalk is filthy. Okay, Detroit is so clean. I was looking at the sidewalk like, ooh, no dog doo-doo. Thank you, God.
Oh, wow.
It was great. But I think being there, the creative juices are so free flowing, if that makes sense. Like, it's people walking around in a Dalmatian suit and nobody's like, who is that? They're like, hey, that's his creative juices. So you're kind of, you have more freedom and from a creative standpoint, most definitely, for sure. And I just think that you just meet more professionals within that industry. So I think it's not for everybody. I want to make that very clear because if you're not ready to play the game, if you're not ready to network and to be in that space, it's not going to be your jam. But if you are ready to network, you are ready to maybe do some television stuff, because I feel like if you're a comedy purist, maybe New York. But if you want to do comedy and television and movies, I think Los Angeles is the place.
It's the place. Now, you were talking a little bit about some of your peers that you've worked with, especially at the Comedy Store. Comedian CP is one of the ones from the city of Detroit I remember watching when I was in college and right after college, and to watch him doing what he's doing as well. How is the space and landscape for Black comedians in LA? Is it different than Detroit? Do you see more opportunities, or does it not matter at all?
It does. So let me say this. I think that as a comedian, every scene has a comedy. Every place in the whole world, believe it or not, you can go to Little Town, Minnesota, and it's 3 comedians there, I can guarantee you. So that comedy community, it's almost like being in a sorority or fraternity at times, because you can go anywhere, no matter what your background is, and there'll be a comedy scene. There'll be someone who accepts you. But what I will say is that in Black and Detroit, we have a subculture there. It's a lot of us there. And having people like CP who kind of have paved the way somewhat, or Ron Taylor or Darius Bennett, who have been in LA already kind of setting some groundwork and being so funny and so talented, it almost puts a positive connotation on you because you come in and they're like, oh, you're from Detroit, CP, she has to be funny. Now, it's up to me to follow through with that. And then I think, like I said, comedy is universal. So, we hit so many different cultures with it. Now, of course, I'm Black, all right? Yes, I'm Black, y'all. Blackity black, I'm Black, all right? But I'm a woman. I'm also a social worker. I also was a business owner. I'm also a mother. I'm also somebody's sister, a daughter. So those parts connect us all. You know what I mean? But of course, we're all true to who we are at the core. And I think that, we have a great culture. We have a great, we just have a great little fraternity, the Detroit little scene. in LA for sure. All across the world, but in LA for sure.
That's really cool to know that there's a Detroit group of comedians right now who
They can't stand us. We come in, they like, here come Detroit, move out the way. We like, we're here.
As y'all walking into let me get a pop. What do you mean a pop? What y'all talking about pop? I know, they're looking at us like, what? They
or gym shoes. They get so mad.
When we say gym shoes.
My friend talking about, that's so disrespectful to my sneakers. I said, baby, them gym shoes.
Them gym shoes. So sorry. So very sorry about that. Now, we've been talking about so many different things, of course, but right now, the news cycle is filled with the food recalls. We have tariffs. We have the possibility of wars. Wars are happening across the country, of the world. It's something comedians are asked often, though, but how do you find happiness in a world that's often shadowed by so much darkness?
I think that it's really intentional. And I think that people have to understand that some things are intentional, some things take effort, right? I remember a point in time where I was made to feel like happiness was just given. You're just born happy. You should be happy. Why aren't you happy? Then I had to realize that I have to be intentional about my happiness, okay? Sometimes you have to turn that news cycle off. You want to be informed, so I'm going to be informed. But if you start to feel that dark cloud come over you, it's okay to pause and come back and listen later. It's okay. Hey, that's what I love about this part of technology I love. Remember, you had to wait 2 weeks to watch the new episode. Now, I can rewind it, pause it, DVR it, listen to it at any time I want. And things like music, I have a happy playlist. A playlist, I call it happy. All my favorite songs, all songs that remind me of good things. I have certain shows, or maybe I might listen to a certain message that brings me happy. Maybe I might go watch a comedy, go watch that goofy comedy that Will Ferrell. Call me, Will. Will, I've been waiting on you to call me, Will Ferrell. But I might go watch a Step Brothers or something. Hold on, classic, funny, to get me out of that, because you have to be intentional. And I will say that about LA, being so far away from home, away from my family, away from my friends, it can be competitive. Sometimes you can really be questioning, are these people your friends? Who do you have? So I just have to be intentional.
Being intentional about happiness is something that we should all take away with us. This is The Metro. I'm Tia Graham, and we'll continue our conversation up next with Detroit comedian Barb. You all stay right there. We'll be right back. This is The Metro on WDET. I'm Tia Graham. With me in the studio is Detroit comedian Barb, who has recently been on the West Coast making her way in LA. She's back in Detroit this week and will be featured at WDET's What's So Funny About Detroit Comedy Showcase. The tickets are available right now at WDET.org/events, and the show is Thursday. Doors open at 6. The show promptly begins at 7 p.m. I want to throw this out there to folks as well. It is non-censored, okay? And it is 21 and up. No exceptions whatsoever. So be prepared for that when you do arrive at the old Miami Thursday night. Now, Barb, it's often said cities in California are similar to Detroit. Have you noticed similarities between cities in California, or any differences as well? Like, what similarities have you noticed? Because I hear that often.
I think that the similarities, I would say, is people go to work. It's like, no. The similarities, I think that you get some outdoors people. People are enjoying the outdoor weather a lot. You get a lot of water sports type things going on. So those type of things. But it is very different.
It is very
it's
different.
Very different. Yeah.
Oh, that is so
I could probably find more differences than I can. Yes, absolutely.
That is so interesting. Once again, social media will do a lot of things, but they will inflate things that they think that are real and
Yeah.
actually happening.
Yeah.
Does it take a different sense of humor to play to crowds on the West Coast?
I think the sense of humor is the sense of humor. Now, if you're going to go with some improv, if you're going to go with like some colloquialisms or some things that make things local, then of course it's going to be different. You know what I mean? The West Coast is 3 hours behind. It barely rains there.
Wow.
Like never rains. Like in the last 2-3 months, it's probably rained one time. So you don't get a whole lot of rain. And people are so different. Like the food is different. The dogs even are different. And the reason I say that is because people in California have a dog for companionship. Here we want our dog to bite you. Like our dog is here to bite you and to protect the crib. Don't touch me, bite them. There it's like the dog is, you can see a pit bull running down the street and it is like, hi, and they're like, he doesn't bite. And I'm like, I'm from Detroit, okay? The dog has teeth. It will bite.
Yeah.
So there are some differences in the lifestyle. The lifestyles that they live versus how we live are totally different. It's a big emphasis on health, like huge. Like, we want something fried. You got to go really far.
Really?
They eat poke bowls all the time, and I got to go far here to get a poke bowl. I never had a sushi taco till I went down. What is a sushi taco? But they just making stuff up out there.
You see, y'all don't have a Captain J's around the corner? What's going on?
Baby. Ain't gonna be no you bad, we fried and all that. If you do, they have areas for that. But you have to go so far. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to drive 45 minutes. Oh. The traffic is atrocious.
Oh.
So like here, I'm like, boing, boing, boing. I don't even leave out the house during the day, Tia, at all. I don't leave out the house during the daytime.
I've heard about the LA traffic.
Yeah.
Once again, I want to be a huge supporter. We need public transit. We need to beef it up across our country.
We do.
Now, what's something a California crowd will laugh at that a Detroit crowd would never laugh at?
The dog jokes. A California crowd would be like, so, like, I could literally talk about traffic. So I'll give you an example, right? Like here, let's say somebody's crossing the street. They'll do like a little jog and a wave to let you know. In California, they will literally walk as slow as possible. Just knowing that we're stressed out, we just want to make this turn for the light changes. We've been in traffic for 30 minutes and they will walk. Those horns come on like, dun, dun, and they keep getting louder. That's how it is. He's walking across the street. The horns are getting louder and they don't care how upset you are. Also, they don't know how to dress. Sorry, LA.
Uh-oh.
Love you guys. Everybody there is a hot mess.
Uh-oh.
You can just wear whatever. Whatever. And they'll put like a pair of heel boots on and be like, fashion. And I'll be like, no, not at all. Then they be like, why are you so dressed up? Maybe because I'm hosting the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's one thing I know you pulled with you to the West Coast was Detroit's fashion sense.
Absolutely.
Because we are fashionable here in the city. I don't care what anybody says. Detroit's a fashionable city. And you brought that with you to the West Coast. And they're asking you why you dressed up.
Yes.
That's interesting. That is very interesting. Now, talking about your craft for a moment, what does the process look like from an idea to a joke? Like when you spot something in the street and you're like, you know what? That's funny. I'm going to turn that into a joke. How do you do that?
Well, I think that it kind of just comes from if I think it's comical, right? So all comedy kind of just starts with the concept of thinking something is funny. And then you go home and you craft it. Comedy is the only job where you learn in front of a group of strangers and you're judged by a group of strangers the whole time. I don't care how funny I think it is, even though most of the time when I think it's funny, it's funny. I have to test it in front of that crowd. I have to test it in front of these strangers and be judged by these strangers as to whether it's funny or not. Yeah. So that's kind of how it happens. You have a concept and then you go out and you feed that concept to a bunch of strangers. And if they laugh, you might keep that concept.
Very, 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 very interesting. Now, a lot of people around here may know you, of course, from your Only in Detroit social media reels. That's one of my things my sister said. Oh my gosh, I know her from. Yes, yes. I was going to say, I hope you do. What's something that could only happen in LA?
Oh my God. So first off, in LA, they have like performers sometimes at the red light. So they might be juggling. They'll run in the middle of the street, like juggling these bowling pins or something. And it's like a whole little show. Another thing that I feel would happen only in LA. LA has some very interesting things going on, okay? Like I said, in LA, you may see somebody dressed up like a Pokemon. Just on a regular day, they just chilling and they are a Pokemon.
There's Pikachu.
And people are walking by, nobody's looking. It's like, oh yeah, that's just Pikachu and his friend. And you may have somebody walking around as a human dog or something. And somebody has like a chain and it's just on a Monday. Just a Monday at 3:00 or something. So stuff like
Wow.
I'm telling you, it is wild.
Wow.
Okay, it is wild. I don't want everybody to think like, oh, it's just all stars. Now, and another thing, I was in a place and John Travolta was just in there. So you'll get stuff like that too. Like we just chilling, having a little drink, and there's John, and he chilling at the bar, no security, no nothing. So some of the people you'll see here with security, you'll see them just chilling in LA. They'll just be drinking a latte, relax.
Wow. I mean, interesting. I just
Yeah.
want to sit here and listen to you talk about your
Yeah.
time, your trials and times in LA.
Yeah, I've had some stuff. I'm telling you, and they some freaky frogs in LA, but we on WDT, so we're gonna leave that for another
We're
time.
going to leave it for Thursday night's comedy show. That's what we're
Right.
going to leave it for. It's the Metro on WDET, Detroit Public Radio. My guest is Detroit comedian T. Barb, who will be at WDET's What's So Funny About Detroit Comedy Showcase this Thursday in the backyard of the old Miami. Now, how important is it for you, T. Barb, to be observational in a new space when you are a comedian? I know that's a lot of the work that you do is reading the room and reading people and reading the crowd. How important is that? But do you teach that to others as well?
Well, this is the thing about comedy, right? People are very sensitive about their craft. So I used to be one like, hey, what do you think about this? Now I will only give advice to comedians, new and old, if they ask me. If they come down and they're like, yo, what did you think about this? Then I'll say. Other than that, I won't, because I hate to say it. Comedians are like, I got this and I know. So, you just want to let people do their own thing. So a lot of times I don't. I mean, if they ask me, I will. If they don't ask me, then I'll be like, well, that was on you, girl.
You know? And there's no shortage of comedians from Detroit and Metro Detroit that have made it big. We've talked about some of them. I think about the ones that, truly are everywhere. Tim Robinson, Sam Richardson, Tim Meadows, Lonnie Love, to name a few. And they return home for a few shows and productions per year. How often are you able to make it back to Detroit from the West Coast?
Well, at first I was like really coming home all the time.
Yeah.
Now I see myself, every couple months, every 3 months, just depending on what I have going on. Like I did the show this weekend with open up for Michael Blackson, and then a couple of months ago, maybe like 3 months, 2-3 months ago, I did a show. But before that, it had been some time. So I think like the longer you're out there, the less and less you're able to maybe come back, just depending on how your schedule gets stacked up. And then, of course, I have the nonprofit, the T. Barb and Friends. So we try and come back and give back for Thanksgiving, where we give out the warming kits, we give out hygiene kits, things like that. So I know and I mentor some kids. Like I came back a couple weeks ago, not for comedy, but to mentor some kids at Alkebulan Village. I've been mentoring them for 4 or 5 years, and I didn't want to skip out on them this year. So I didn't have as long as I normally do, but I came and I spent a week with them. And was just able to give them some gifts and just let them know that no matter, how much I climb, I still have some time for Detroit. So I mean, it really depends, you know. But I need y'all to book me, put me on the road. Then maybe next time y'all see me, we'll be at the Fox or Ford Field somewhere or something.
You know, that is definitely where I think a lot of us hope to see you very soon. Is in that that Fox, even Ford Field.
Yeah.
I want to stick here for a little bit though, because you get back and you're coming and you're mentoring some students that you've mentored for the last 5 or 6 years. What has it been like sticking with the same group of kids for the last 5 or 6 years, watching them grow, but watching them manifest their own creative outlets?
You know what? It's been great because some of them graduated this past year. I mean, they'll have new students, but we have some that have been there like the whole time. And to just watch them mature, go from me telling them, be quiet, to them actually being quiet. But just watching them grow, seeing them mature. We went to Cedar Point, stuff like that. It's been great.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised because I did a role in this series called Mac Block, right? It's a Detroit kind of local thing. Shout out to Moolah Films. And all the kids had seen it. I don't want to give it away, but they were like, why they do that to you, Mama T. Barb? And I was so surprised that they really be like that. Because you think like these kids don't care. They're not paying attention. But they really, truly are following my career. They really, truly know what's going on with me. They know the content. And I think that that's special to have that bond, not only just with my city, but with the youth. Yeah.
Yes. And when we return from our quick break here on the Metro, we'll continue to talk with T. Barb. I do want to remind you all that we still have our listener survey open. WDET listener survey is online. It is quick. It is anonymous, and you can help us shape the future of Detroit Public Radio. Go to WDET.org/survey. That's WDET.org/survey. Once again, we will continue with T. Barb. This is the Metro. You all stay right there. Welcome back to the Metro on WDET. I'm Tia Graham, and with me in studio is Detroit comedian T. Barb, who has recently been on the West Coast making her way in L.A. She's back in Detroit this week and will be featured at WDET's What's So Funny About Detroit Comedy Showcase. Once again, the tickets are available right now online at WDET.org/events. The show is Thursday, doors open at 6, and the show promptly begins at 7 p.m. 21 and up. Now, what's something that would only be funny to a Detroiter? This is for you, T. Barb. In what ways have you noticed that this only works in Detroit?
You know what? I think talking about the Tamia hustle, and for the listeners who don't know, we have this line dance. We call it the hustle, of course, in Detroit, and it's by the singer Tamia. And you'll know who's like from Detroit because when it comes on, they can't wait to run out there and do this little bounce. And I feel like those people are arrogant and stuck up, and they need to come down. So what we can do, the Tamia hustle. Another thing I think about Detroit that's so funny is we have so many streets that look one way because they have French influence, but they're pronounced another way. So only a Detroiter will understand a cashew.
Yeah.
Only a Detroiter will understand that McNichols is 6 miles. You know what I mean? So that's how you can tell when somebody's from out of town because they're like, yeah, I was on McNichols. And we're like, what? You mean 6 mile? Stuff like that. I think that a corned beef egg roll is only going to be understood by a Detroiter, a big backer. Okay, because nowhere else are they putting a corned beef in an egg roll and deep frying it, okay? So those are things. I think, of course, a Faygo, Frank's Red Hot. Everywhere else when I say hot sauce, they bringing me Cholula, Tabasco, chili paste. Baby, I want Frank's. Right? I am from Detroit.
We put that on everything.
We put it on everything.
Yeah.
So those are some things that I think, like I said, Lasher. I don't care if it's Lasser. If you really from Detroit, you say Lasher. You move the S and the H, okay? Our eyes, if Detroiters' eyes cross the S and the H, it will forever be Lasher. I don't care
I'm
if it's
telling
Lasser or not. It's Lasher. So those are things that, somebody comes from out of town and they're like, or Gratiot.
Ooh.
They will tear Gratiot up.
Listen, I was a traffic reporter. The first time I had to visually read the words of the streets, I butchered every single one of them. Cashew was Cadax. That's what I said on air. I said, "Oh yeah." I said, "Are you from the city?" I said, "I don't know. Honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't know because I can't read the streets that I've been driving on." I got it together though. I got it together. Detroit called me and let me know I was wrong, so I got it together. But T-Barb, you're a comedian who really took advantage of social media and getting out there, especially during the pandemic. You were tearing it up on social media. How important is doing that for a young comedian today?
I think that is actually imperative. You get a lot of the older comedians that are like, we don't want to be on social media. Sometimes I don't want to be on there either. And I'm finding now that people know my voice and maybe not my likeness. So now I'm trying to transition to something where they know it's me and I don't have to be like, what up, don't me? So they'll know it's just me. But it's just a part. If you want to be in the game, you got to play the game.
Yes.
It's just like if you're a basketball player, you can't say, I don't like that ball. That's the ball that you have to play with for the game. So you're going to need to be on social media. Now, you don't need a large following all the time. You need a loyal following. I tell people that all the time. You can have 1 million people following you, but if 10 people won't buy tickets, if they won't support you, if they don't click your live, if they don't get a t-shirt from you, a book, if they don't tell other people about you, that's just 1 million people in your business. They're not a community. So I would say versus looking at the size, look at the quality. Get you a community that don't play about you. It may be slow. And social media is so hard because you can put something out and want this reaction and get this reaction. Sometimes I don't get the views I want or the likes I want, but I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about the quality of the people that showed up for me, how they showed up for me, how loyal they are to me and how we can grow together, because you can have a large fan base that don't do nothing for you. So people should always keep that in mind too.
Yeah. Now, you're going to be at the Old Miami, of course, on Thursday as part of WDET's What's So Funny About Detroit Comedy Showcase. And you've been doing so many different things in LA. Comic View, once again, amazing. You've been in films, you've been on television. What do you like so much about performing at the Old Miami?
Yeah, first off, I love WDT. I love the support. Of course, Ryan Patrick Cooper is my guy. That's my guy. Best eyelashes in the game, by the way, believe it or not.
It's not a joke,
It is, like, for real. It's the bomb. But just love that the cast corridor, it's true Detroit. It brings everybody together. You can see it's a nice backdrop. People bring their chairs out. They're there to laugh. The drinks are always drinking. So yeah, it's just always a great venue and always a great time for sure.
Yes. And do smaller venues ever change the way you do comedy?
No. I feel like the smaller venues are what tell you if you really have it or not. If I can make a couple people laugh or we have a smaller crowd, then that lets me know that when we get in front of this stadium, it's going to go crazy.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think Old Miami is considered just a small crowd. It's a moderate. But it's not small because you guys fill it up all the way to the back. Like I know you guys are going to do this week. So yeah, so
the pause was for the listener.
Time.
The pause was for the listeners.
Yeah, because they know what to do.
And we talk about a lot of different things. We've talked about a lot of different things, and I want to go back for just a moment here. But being from the city of Detroit, there's a certain stigma that comes with it. But I always think about the positives that I hear when people leave the city and they say, "Well, they gave me props or they gave me a big ups because they knew I was from the city and they knew I was going to put on." Talk about just having that pride of Detroit on your back when you do leave and you're traveling across to someplace like Iowa.
I think that it's just important. We have a certain grit here in the city. We have a certain tenacity here. We have just a certain level of get out our face. That's for lack of better words. We're just really tough. We're really strong. And we just have so much pride. No matter where we're from, where we live, rather. When you're from Detroit, you could tell because they're going to have something on that says Detroit. They're going to have the colors on. We're going to have on a hat, a Tigers hat. Never been to a Tigers game ever, a person. You know? They never been to a Lions game ever. Don't know nothing about the Red Wings, except for Wayne Gretzky, who ain't played in forever. But we still going to wear that gear, that merchandise. We love Detroit. And Detroit has put a certain voila. It's a certain magic, certain little pixie dust that gets thrown on us when we're from here. And we don't play.
No.
We don't play. You get what you earn in the city. We don't give a lot of sympathy or this or that. Even with the laughs, if I get that laugh, I know that I earned that laugh and I deserve that laugh, because in Detroit, we make sure that we're tough. We have the grit, and we make sure that it is what it is. And we'll never have that facade of, we thought it. No, when we send you out there, nah. When we send it out there, this is official.
That was one of my things, because I was speaking with Galen McKinney, a drummer, a percussionist, a professor at Oakland University, and she says you cannot, when you're mentored here or you're a mentor, you make sure that whoever it is, when you send them out, they're ready. They're not going to embarrass you. They're not going to embarrass anyone. So when you're out there on the stage, and does it ever go in your head like, you know what, I'm not going to embarrass my city?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not going to embarrass me, my city. I'm going to always represent. And don't be wrong, because Detroit is so rough. Sometimes you be like, am I from Detroit? They is being mean today.
To me, I know.
Or they be like, we don't know who that is. Because one thing about Detroit, everybody is celebrity.
Yes.
Detroit is probably the only place where Obama be in the corner. Somebody be like, I think that's Obama. I don't know. Because my cousin was the president of the... Not just being funny on that, because I know we would all. But I'm just saying, we all are celebrities here. So if you gain some notoriety here, know that you earned it.
Yeah. And for people who want to follow you when you go back to LA, how can they begin to do that?
They definitely can. So you can always go to my website, which is tbarbisfunny.com. That's TBARBIS funny.com. Or you can go on Instagram. I am T-Barb. I am TBARB, and it's comedian T-Barb on all other platforms. But of course, T-Barb is Funny will let you know where all the shows are going to be. You can watch different clips. You can watch my new podcast, Not What I Ordered. You can go click the link to watch Comic View or Only in My Hood, my show on Tubi. But if you want to be on social media, I am T-Barb, comedian T-Barb.
And before we get you out of here, before folks can see you in person Thursday at the Old Miami in that backyard, the doors open at 6. Once again, that show starts at 7 p.m. You've actively supported public radio over the years, and you are probably one of the best well-known names here that we have within the comedy scene at WDET. So for someone who supported this station, what do you tell people about supporting public media?
I think it's just so important, because right now we have so much media that is controlled, and you're not getting that accurate everyday person viewpoint. People don't get that. If you go to different municipalities, different cities, you'll hear the same story kind of repeated with a little bit of a local flair. But when you're listening to public radio, you're getting the nitty gritty of what's really going on. You're getting that unfiltered truth that we need, especially in the AI age, where your grandma calling you talking about, is that really a dog riding a bike? No, grandma, it's not. But here, you're going to know it's not a dog riding a bike. You're going to get what we really need to get, which is that unbiased. Listen to me, guys. Unbiased truth of what's really going on and the things that really matter to you. So please keep supporting the mission. We need you. $5, $10, 50 cents. Everybody got $1. That's 2 bags. Well, that ain't even 2 bags of chips no more. But it'll help us.
Oh my gosh. Like literally my nose is dripping right now. I'm laughing so hard. Barb, comedian. You want to see Barb, the comedian, come out to WDET's What's So Funny About Detroit Comedy Showcase this Thursday at the Old Miami. It's the last comedy showcase for the summer. Tickets are on sale right now. Doors open at 6. Show begins at 7. Barb, see you Thursday.
All right, see you.
That's it for The Metro. The Metro is hosted by Robin Vincent and me, Tia Graham. It's produced by Sam Corey and Alex McLennan. Our engineer is Jose Yanis, and our senior producer is David Lyons. The Metro is a production of WDET, a listener-supported service of Wayne State University. And this is WDET-FM, Detroit Public Radio, your connection to news, music, and conversation. You all have a great day.